Hey everybody, it is Monday afternoon, and while it's still a little too chilly for me to be out on the water, it is certainly warm enough for me to be out in the woods. And so today we are going to go out on to George's Creek, which is technically part of Pretty Boy Reservoir, but it's a feeder tributary into the reservoir. In fact, the little stream you can see off to the right there flows into George's Creek eventually. But we're going to be about 5 miles downstream, and we're going to get out today and we're going to do a few things. I'm going to fish. We're going to scout around a little bit because it's my first time out for the year, and things are always different in the springtime. And we are also going to try my boundary boots out, give them a little test drive today. It's an interesting type boot. We'll talk a little more about them later. But every time I've ever worn them, I have worn them in my kayak. So I've sort of gotten in and out of the kayak, and that's about it. I've never actually used them for what they're intended to be used for, which is that sort of boundary conditions between the wet and the dry and the land and the water. And so while we're out fishing today, there'll probably be a few times where I need to cross the river and that sort of thing. And so these boundary boots will get an actual test drive today, and we can talk about that, see how they do, and so on and so forth. So give me a couple of minutes. I got to get on down the road about 5 miles, as I said, and I will see you all out on the water. All right, everybody. Here we are at George's Creek. I've been here for a few minutes already. Fished around right by the bridge as we walked in. The water is absolutely crystal clear today, but there was no fish to be had except for a couple of really big white suckerfish, like the kind I have in my aquarium, but they were about a foot long, and neither one of them showed the slightest bit of interest in my little spinnerbait that I've got today. So we're going to move on down here, try a couple other little spots, and see what happens. And as far as my boots, the reason I was saying that they're not like normal boots is they're actually neoprene boots that come over the calf and are really thick neoprene. They're 5 mil neoprene, and then they have like a 7 mil thick rubber sole on the bottom. So they don't offer anything in the way of ankle support, but that cinch strap that goes across the top of your foot and the sole on the bottom make them feel surprisingly boot-like nonetheless. I've just never come out really and hiked around in them. As I've said, I only really kind of got in my kayak with them a few times and in and out of the water like that. I've never really walked through the woods with them, so today's gonna give me a test to see how my feet actually feel when we come out the other side of this. I'm telling you, I'm not seeing anything that's making me think we're going to be catching any fish today. Let's go around this pile of stuff. I can sometimes pull a few fish out of this little hole right here, but I can see into it and there's just absolutely nothing, no activity at all, not even any little minnows dashing around. And normally I would walk out and I'd stand over there and fish up into it, but I don't think today there's any point in doing that. So we are going to come down here. Boy, there's a lot of flooding through here. This has all been cleaned out and scoured from the floods. So yeah, this definitely looks very different. This all used to be a big, that sandbank continued all the way up to here, and it was just a stream on the other side, so it's completely opened this up. And once again, I have seen no signs of life. It is kind of early in the season. The water is still really cold. I normally don't get out until April or May, so the fact that I'm even out here in mid-March is unusual. I'm going to try throwing a line out over there where I can't see into the water. Wow, is that different? Right down here is where we were heading, one of my little honey holes, but it's not there anymore. So we'll have to check that out when we get down there. Alright everybody, as I suspected, there was absolutely nothing going on back there either. So all these mounds of sand that we're working on were never here before. It was almost level ground, and it went most of the way across and all the way out there. And I was able to fish along that shoreline down there, and it was usually pretty good fishing. So today, I think it's shallow enough we'll still be able to walk out there a little bit. But I just want to scope it out a little. It was usually pretty good fishing around there. See, that's not even deep anymore. This tree has caused all the sand to pile up behind it, and there's not even any deep holes back there anymore. This is completely different. Let's see how we can get out there. That's actually deeper than it looks right there. Oh, that's still a little deeper than I thought it was going to be. Wow, this is a lot deeper than I thought it was going to be. I don't think we're even going to be able to walk out that far. No, we're definitely not going to be able to go any further. I was hoping we could walk along this ridge line and get out there and fish down, but that's not happening. Alright, let's take the deer trail out of here. Let's see what I mean. I hope you can see that on camera. Wow. This all used to be like 3 or 4 feet deep and sort of washed out because the water used to come down and clean this out, and it's all rocks down through there, and the smallmouth used to just lie up in there. You could always pull them out of there. Social distancing activity. Oh, come on. All right. I still don't think we're going to do any good at all. Yeah, I can see every rock and pebble on the bottom. And there aren't so much as sunfish out there swimming around. I'm not seeing any minnows. Nothing. Typically, even if the fish aren't really on and they're not, feeding actively, there'll still be some activity. They'll come over to check out what the splash was. They'll follow the bait in a little ways to see what it is. Something. And like I said, I can see every pebble in the water. And as far as I can see, everywhere, there's not a single nothing. So I think today will be just a nice day to get out here and get some fresh air and walk around a little bit, but the fishing part of this is about to be over real quick. This is just wasting my time. Alright everybody, I gave up on the fishing, but I still want to get a little bit of exercise, come out here, walk around, look around. So we're about a quarter mile downstream from where we were. and I am still not seeing any signs of life. Normally by now we'd be seeing, well, I don't mean by now as far as the time of year, I mean by now as far as where we are downstream, we'd be seeing carp swimming up and down, patrolling, you know, sifting the mud and everything all over the place by now, and we're just not. But we do get these really cool rock formations that we get to walk past, so I always like to stop and look at these. Wonder how many little critters and rodents and whatnot live in them. I also like the way we get the fern and the moss and the lichen and everything growing out of it. Stuff like this gives me good inspiration for my tanks. So once again, I am just stunned at how clear the water is, but there is absolutely nothing to indicate that it's worth coming out here and fishing just yet. So we're going to keep making our way down to one more little spot that I like to go to, and not because I think there's going to be fish there, but just because I'm out here and it'll make for a nice little walk, little turnaround point, and then we'll start heading on back. Oh, you know what, hang on one more minute, because right here is a little tiny, not really cave, but almost. Well, I'm pretty sure something lives down in there. You can see this is its doormat right here, all that dirt kicked out. But obviously it's just an overhang of rock. It goes right out the other side. It's not actually a cave. All right, now we're going to walk on down. All right, everybody, we are just around the corner from where we're going. Make sure I don't trip over anything here. But we're coming into some more interesting rock formations. And I just love the way the fern and the lichen and everything grows all over it. And this time of year, you can really see them stand out. In another few weeks, when all the leaves are out and it's green back here, you won't be able to see any of that. So we are going to a little place right on the water. We have to go down the trail and then along a little feeder stream, and it's a little cleared out area that in my mind I always think of as the picnic area, and you can actually see it right over there, that little clearing, which would make a great spot for a picnic. In fact, this time of year we can actually cut straight through. There's a trail right there, but as I said, in a couple of weeks that's going to be all overgrown with sticker bushes. So we are going to go the way we would normally go, which is just here and around the bend. I remember once upon a time when that tree was standing upright, and down in that little ditch right there is where the little stream flows out. We're just going to walk right here. There's somebody down there fishing. Looks like he almost caught something. So this is it. Not a lot to look at this time of year, but if you see these dead stalks here, these are the remains of Joe Pieweed, and it's a gorgeous flower. It's a wildflower that grows around here. It gets about 8 to 10 feet tall. And you can see all these stalks are all Joe Pieweed, and they get these huge firework looking flowers on the top that attract butterflies. So in midsummer, when you come down here, you're surrounded by a wall of Joe Pye weed that's covered in butterflies. So this is a really, really cool spot to come to later in the year. And like I said, it makes for a good turning around point. And when the fish are out here, it makes for pretty good fishing too. So I'm sure you'll be seeing this spot again later in the summer as I come out here and shoot more and more videos. We may even see it from the kayak, you know, see it from out on the water looking up at some point if you follow my outdoors videos. So I'm going to say thanks for watching. I'm going to start making my way back. We got to go about a half mile upstream, and I'll be back to the truck and heading on home. So thanks for watching this one. I'll see you real soon in the next one.